What is up? This is your LA in a minute, and I've been excited to talk about this one for a long time. This is the oldest restaurant in all of LA County. The original Saugus Cafe is more than 130 years old, and it's got some history that I can't wait to talk about. So, let's get into it. So James Herbert Tallfree opened what was known as Tallfree's Saugus Eating House in 1887, not 1886 as the sign says, because that's when the Saugus Train Depot opened, and it was attached to the train depot as part of a chain of cafes owned by Tallfree, who also owned locations in Bakersfield, Mojave, and Tehachapi. It was strategic on behalf of Tallfree, who knew that people needed to eat at the train stops, and the train depot was the only building in the entire area, aside from a blacksmith shop, that was located approximately where Magic Mountain is today. It was officially renamed the Saugus Cafe in 1900 when Martin and Richard Wood took over. They ran it successfully, so much so that President Theodore Roosevelt stopped here in 1903 and declared their New York steak to be splendid. So the original location of the cafe eating house was actually across the street. There was a train station there, but in 1915, they moved it to this side of the street, and it was renovated, and that's where it currently stands today. So by the 1930s, the Saugus Cafe was already an institution, at least in name and how many years it had been around, and it became a new kind of hub for the entertainment industry. Clark Gable, John Wayne, Marlene Dietrich all spent hours there away from the set because many Western films were filmed out here in Santa Clarita. In 1936, new manager Fielding Wood added a fast food annex with a drive-thru, but that was destroyed by a drunk driver before it could even be used by customers. Interesting. Check this out. In 1943, new owner Laura Wood had to close the restaurant because of the war and discovered that she couldn't close it because there were no locks. The restaurant had never closed because it was always open 24 hours a day. So in the 1950s, the cafe sort of languished as highways became more prominent and this route sort of petered out. But in came Red Andrews and Bill Rolls, who bought the old building, remodeled it into a hotel, and moved the cafe into what was the Saugus Pool Hall, fully keeping with the history and the traditions. So due to financial problems, the restaurant actually closed in 1983, but thanks to Fred Kane, a previous owner, he came in and rescued it, but not before he renamed it the famous Saugus Cafe and Lounge. So Kane changed the name back to the original Saugus Cafe almost immediately, but by 1994, he sold it to Karen and David Nardiello, who renovated the restaurant and in turn sold it to two longtime employees in 1998, Gay Libby and Alfredo Mercado. Mercado still owns the restaurant to this day. So 135 years after opening its Tallfree's Saugus Eating House, the original Saugus Cafe is still going strong as LA's oldest restaurant. All right, LA, it's been a minute.